Welcome to topic 1.6 of module 1. In this particular topic, we will learn about the integumentary system. During the course of this video, try and answer as many questions as you can from module 1, topic 1.6. The learning objectives for this topic are to describe the functions of the integumentary system, to describe the three layers of skin, to briefly describe the appendages of the skin and their functions, and to describe the three protective barriers of the integumentary system. Skin and its derivatives, such as the sweat glands, oil glands, hair and nails, make up a complex set of structures which together form the integumentary system. The skin covers our entire body and has a surface area of up to 2.2 meters squared. The topmost layer is called the epidermis and is composed of epithelial cells. The epidermis is the outermost protective shield of our body. Underneath the epidermis lies the dermis, which makes up the bulk of the skin. It is a tough, leathery layer, composed mostly of dense connective tissue. The dermis is heavily vascularized and is responsible for the supply of nutrients to the epidermis. The dermis itself is subdivided into two different layers. The upper papillary layer is comprised of areolar connective tissue, which has a heavy supply of blood vessels. Because of the looseness of this connective tissue, many leukocytes and phagocytes wander freely in search of any pathogens that may have penetrated the skin. The reticular layer underneath the papillary layer accounts for about 80% of the thickness of the dermis. It is a coarse, dense, and irregular connective tissue. The roots of hair, sebaceous glands, and sweat glands are located within the reticular layer of the dermis. The subcutaneous tissue underneath the dermis is called the hypodermis. The hypodermis is not part of the skin, but shares some of the skin's protective functions. The hypodermis is also called the superficial fascia, because it is superficial to the tough connective tissue wrapping the skeletal muscles, and consists mostly of adipose tissue. Besides storing fat, the hypodermis also anchors the skin to the underlying structures, but loose enough so that the skin can still slide relatively freely over those structures. The most important function of the integumentary system is protection. However, it does have other roles, including cutaneous sensation, body temperature regulation, metabolic functions, excretion, and non-verbal communication. So as we discussed a moment ago, the skin has three major regions. The epidermis, which is the superficial layer of the skin, is made up of stratified squamous epithelium that has multiple layers of flattened epithelial cells. Keratinocytes are the cells that produce keratin, the fibrous protein that gives epidermis its protective properties. About 10 to 25% of the lower epidermis is made up of melanocytes, which synthesize a pigment called melanin. Melanin acts as a shield that protects the nucleus of the cell from the damaging effects of UV radiation. Epidermal dendritic cells migrate to the epidermis and provide immunity, whereas tactile cells are present in the epidermal junction and are intimately associated with the disc-like sensory nerve endings. These nerve endings function as sensor receptors for touch, temperature, and other sensations. The dermis is the middle region of the skin. It is made up of strong, flexible connective tissue and has a rich supply of nerves and blood vessels. And finally, the bottom layer, the hypodermis, is the deepest region and contains mostly adipose tissue. The figure in this slide is a photomicrograph of the four major epidermal layers in thin skin. However, this picture is just for reference. The key feature is to remember that the topmost layer, the stratum corneum, is made up of dead cells that are filled with keratin, and that the keratin is secreted by keratinocytes. Burns can cause serious damage to the integumentary system. Based on the location, depth, and surface area involved, burns are classified into three different types. First-degree burns are superficial, where the damage is limited just to the epidermis. First-degree burns usually cause redness of the skin, which suggests a local inflammation. In second-degree burns, the damage extends to the papillary layer of the dermis. Second-degree burns are very painful, and typical signs such as redness, inflammation, and blistering can be seen at the site of the burn. Finally, third-degree burns are deeper than the previous two and involves all layers of the skin, damaging the nerves and the blood vessels. The nervous damage is why people who suffer from third-degree burns may not feel any pain at all. Appendages of the skin are the structures that are associated with the skin and perform several functions such as sensation, protection, and secretory functions. Sweat glands, sebaceous glands, hair and nails together are known as the skin appendages. Sweat glands, also known as sudoriferous glands, are distributed on the entire skin surface, other than some external parts such as the genitalia and nipples. There are two different kinds of sweat glands in our body, the eccrine and apocrine sweat glands. Eccrine glands, also called merocrine glands, are particularly abundant on the palms, the feet, and also the forehead, whereas apocrine sweat glands can be found in the axillary and anogenital areas. The secretions from these glands, commonly called sweat, is a hypertonic filtrate of the blood. 99% of sweat is water, with some salts and antibodies, which protects us from microbes. The major role of sweat glands is to prevent the body from overheating. Sebaceous or oil glands are found all over the body except on the palms and soles of the hands and feet. Most of the sebaceous glands develop from the hair follicles and become active at puberty. The oily holocrine secretion from sebaceous glands is known as sebum. It has important functions that include being bactericidal and softening and lubricating the hair and skin to prevent them from becoming brittle. Increased testosterone that occurs in both sexes during puberty can increase the amount of sebum secretion, leading to acne. Millions of hairs are distributed on the entire surface of the skin, except for our palms, soles, lips, nipples, and some parts of the external genitalia. The hairs are flexible strands produced by hair follicles and largely consist of dead keratinized cells. Hard keratin makes up the hair and nails and is more tough and durable than the soft keratin which is found in typical epidermal cells. The hair pigment itself is made by melanocytes at the base of the hair follicle. Various proportions of melanin of different colours, such as yellow, brown, and black, combine to produce the hair colour, which ranges from blonde to pitch black, although red hair is created by a separate pigment altogether. As we age, the production of melanin decreases, which turns the hair grey or white. The major functions of our hair include providing increased sensitivity to inform the brain of smaller stimulus, such as the presence of insects on the skin. It also helps protect the scalp against physical trauma, external heat, and sunlight. The primary role of the integumentary system is to provide protection to the body. And being the superficial layer, it is constantly exposed to microorganisms, physical damage, temperature, and harmful chemicals. Skin has developed 3 different types of barriers: chemical, physical, and biological, to protect our body from these harms. Chemical barriers include the skin secretions and melanin. The low pH secretions of the skin, known as the acid mantle, prevents bacterial growth, while natural antibiotics called defensins, secreted by the skin, have the ability to punch holes through bacteria in order to kill them. Melanin, as discussed earlier, protects skin cells from UV damage. The physical or mechanical barrier is formed by the hardened keratinized cells and glycolipids. The uppermost layer of the integumentary system is made up of dead epithelial cells that are surrounded and filled with keratin, which block the entry of water and water-soluble substances. This physical barrier acts in tandem with the chemical secretions on the skin to prevent bacterial invasion. However, there are substances that can penetrate the skin in limited amounts, and these are usually lipid-soluble substances, such as organic solvents, salts of heavy metals, and selected drugs. The biological barrier includes the dendritic cells of the epidermis and the macrophages of the dermis. These cells are active elements of the immune system, and they patrol the skin and its layers to look out for any pathogens. From this video, we have learnt about the integumentary system. We have learnt where we can individually identify each of the 3 layers of the skin. We've also learnt about the appendages of the skin, the function of sweat glands and sebaceous glands and hair, and finally, we have learnt about the 3 different kinds of protective barriers.